David Robertson
Yes.
to the Phillies, $16 million prorated. So he's going to get himself in the 6 range, give or take. But the Phillies needed bullpen help. And Lance, much like what you put on the table, David Robertson waited until late July to sign because he had a number in mind. And of course, he got to that 16 number. Now we're deep into the season. He's only going to pitch about a couple months. He got optioned as soon as he signs so he can get himself ready to go. It's a total cost to Philly of about $12 million because they get taxed 110% on every dollar because they're over the 4th luxury tax number, which I think is called the Steve Cohen tax from the Mets unofficially. And that Robertson gets himself about 5.5, 6. And he'll be up soon, hopefully, to be able to help this team. So what do you think of this unique deal that was pulled off by David Robertson, who represents himself?
No, I thought it was a good deal for both sides, really. D-Rob is going to get what he wanted to get. That's how he rolls. And it ends up working out well. Phillies don't have to give up any prospects for him. So you're looking at down the stretch here, you get a guy that you can trust. He's done it in the playoffs and he's done it at a high level. So, and knowing him, man, he's going to be ready to go. He's done this before when he was rehabbing his own Tommy John back in the day and then signed late in the season and put up good numbers, I think back with Tampa back in the day. So he knows what he's doing, and I think he'll be ready sooner rather than later, a couple of weeks down there, get some games under his belt. And, that's a good pickup for the Phillies for sure.
Listen, he's his own agent. This guy understands what he's capable of. He understands what he's worth, and he didn't want to dime anything less than what he wanted. I mean, maybe a little bit, but you get at home, you get a taste a little bit of what home life is. I'm sure he probably loved it with his kids. But again, if he has an opportunity to play for August for a couple months and make $5.5 million, I mean, who wouldn't say yes to that? So, Lance, you should have stayed in shape, damn it. God almighty.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Everyone's like, hey, how fast can you get there? I was like, if I only had to throw one inning, every other day, that's a little different story. But if you're looking at 100 pitches, then, that's going to be that's a totally different ballgame. You need a month or two to get ready to go for that.
Easily blow out in 2 months, just gas 98 plus. You could do that.
Some teams
you just need me for one at
that?
a time. Yeah, early on in the offseason, some teams are starting to float the idea of closing, and then it was funny because they're like, "Hey, do you want to close?" I was like, "I think that'd be fun." They're like, "Yeah, we're going to give you this, but you might start too." I was like, "Hey, if you want me to start, you're going to pay me like a starter, and if you want me to relieve, you can pay me like a reliever." So that was where a team started trying to get me as a reliever, but use me as a starter, get me a little cheaper was their idea. I was like, we're not going to do that either.
Wow, trying to get the reliever rate. That's creative. Yep. I give them that. Yeah. All right, so David Robertson's 40 years old. He hasn't pitched since September 29th. He did the private bullpen session for teams the other day, and clearly it went well enough that there were multiple teams going after him. Craig Breslow was there representing the Red Sox, and Robertson ends up going with Philly. I'm sure it was a money thing for the most part. They probably offered the most. It's his 16th season now. He's coming off a 3.00 ERA, Godfather, 68 innings or outings last year for the Rangers at 99 strikeouts in 72 innings. It's obviously a really good K per 9 number, even from a reliever for a Phillies team that ranks in the bottom 10 in bullpen ERA. How quickly do you think he can be a factor for them? And is there a chance he even ends up closing out games for them because Jose Alvarado is not going to pitch for them in the playoffs since he got popped for PEDs?
Well, there's no telling what he can do. And I think at his stage and where he's at, he's not going to be like, hey, man, I got to be the closer. I got to be the 7th, 8th inning guy. He's going to do whatever they tell him. Just understanding and playing with the guy, especially, this could be his last little go-around here. He just wants to play. His cutter still plays. It's a nasty pitch. He learned it from Mariano Rivera, as we all know. He still throws in the 90s. And with that cutter going one way, and now he's developed a little bit of a sinker and that big breaking pitch, he's a good pitcher with no telling what he can do. So he'll be ready to pitch whenever they want him, wherever. And he's not afraid, man. Give him the ball. He's always been clutch. He's always been that guy, starting with the Yankees and all of a sudden moving around. He's got the best calves in baseball, and that's that with him.
Lance, what do you think it's going to take for him to get back? I know you mentioned obviously it's easier to come back as a reliever, but what does that look like for someone who hasn't been pitching obviously in any semblance of real games, and all of a sudden he's thrust right into the thick of a major league season when everyone should be in midseason form. You did one late signing, right?
I did one late signing, and it was the most miserable first month and a half I ever had in a season of my life. So, but that's, you're looking at starter, right? You got to build up the endurance, the up downs and stuff like that. As a reliever, most likely he's been throwing live BPs to get ready. I don't know exactly what his schedule was like. So knowing him, he'll be, I'm thinking 2 weeks and maybe 3 at the most. So he'll be ready to go. You're looking at mid-August, so you're getting a month and a half of him. And like Todd said, he doesn't care where you want him to pitch. He's going to go get his 3 outs, and he's going to do it at a high level. And he's done it for a long time at a high level. So I think it's a really good pickup, man, for a team that definitely needs a back end guy, like you said, with the suspension. So it was a no doubter for any team that needed a guy.
How much does this help Philly, Top Father? Do you think that they're going to go get themselves another bullpen piece?
Enough. I think it helps them enough. I'm not going to go over the bridge and say, definitely going to be a playoff team, win the NL East, but this helps them enough. Another key cog, and, honestly, a guy that's been there before with the Phillies. So we understand that it's not a guy that's just not brand new to the team. So he's going to come in, feel comfortable and ready to go once they put him up there. And I think it helps them just enough, if that's for lack of a better answer.
Right. But okay, so we're 10 days-ish away from the trade deadline, or 10 days exactly. It's on the 31st. It's a Thursday. So not this week, but next week on Thursday, we'll be doing hours and hours of coverage on foul territory. How much more do you think the Phillies need to be a World Series winner? Because this winning window is going to close sometime soon. A lot of their guys have been around for a minute. Also, some of them could end up leaving. Schwarber's going to be a free agent after the season. What else do we need? Do we need one outfielder? And in my mind,
let's hear you.
I need another reliever.
Yeah,
I need another, preferably high leverage, but at least a guy that can pitch in the 7th or 8th inning. The circle of trust in the playoffs gets very tiny.
I like their lineup. I still like their lineup.
Okay.
I like their starting staff. I do. If they do want to sprinkle in another starter there, wouldn't be opposed. I know that would help. But again, I think the biggest thing in trade deadlines are the guys that are going to come in the 4th and 5th inning and all of a sudden all right, we need 2 innings out of you. Those long relievers. And you understand it. For some reason, the playoffs now, the last couple of years, pitchers don't go too long, Scotty, Lance. You see that. And it's kind of unfortunate. Coaches have shorter leashes. And now your bullpen's like, shoot, I gotta go back-to-back days, or maybe back-to-back. So they got to be ready. So the more of those, the better. And if you have opportunity to get them, trade a prospect. They're prospects for a reason. So they haven't done anything yet in the big leagues. And I've always said that, Lance, whether you agree with me or not.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. That's why you have them, so you can trade them for what you need to go win a playoff series or a World Series. So, I think it's definitely a back end reliever, and there's going to be some out there. And Dombrowski's not afraid to go get what he needs to get. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do at the deadline. Maybe get an outfield bat from the right side too. So a reliever and an outfield bat, and especially with Robertson signing, that's a good little deadline for him, I would think.
You know about the best place to buy, sell, trade, or look for that special card in your world. It's called Arena Club, and Eric Kratz just went through a little slab pack experience, and you went big. You went for the Ruby pack.
I love it. I love clicking on the Ruby pack and knowing that I'm going to open something that is going to be epic. I got a Cal Ripken Jr. autographed 1 of 42. I'm keeping it right now, but I would love to have it in my hand, so I might even have them send it to me. Already graded. Everything taken care of for me.
That's right. You want to hang it up and stare at it all day, go for it. But if you're in there to get something else or to sell it away, you can do that. They've got the buyback program, or you can put it on the marketplace yourself. Tons of options. This is where the best cards live. It's arenaclub.com/foul and use the code FOUL for 20% off your first slab pack, or if you'd like to purchase a card, 20% off your first card purchase. Again, arenaclub.com/FOUL. Use code FOUL.